Welcome, tubers, family and friends. We're here, Leo having a melon breakfast, and he has his little Christmas snowman. He loves Christmas. I don't know why, he just loves it, everything to do with it. And my beautiful queen have her swimsuit on this morning because she's gonna swim with Leo. Good morning, my love. And she's making a canned something and a rice.
This is for John.
Oh, and just kind of an update, giving you an update. If you haven't been part of the channel before, welcome, and thank you for subscribing and liking. And my name's Edward. I live with my Filipino wife and our half Filipino, half American child that we had together. He's going to be 5 years old in September, and we live in northwestern Mindanao, the island in the Philippines. And this is my homestead I built here, a solar, a sorry store, all surrounded by high walls and a swimming pool and a tower, and we got a chef kitchen over here and a laundry facility. And it took about 5 years altogether to build this place. 5 years, and
I'm going to prepare John first.
You're going to prepare?
Yeah.
Okay, then we'll...
We have a special child, and I'm going to prepare food for him. It's a beans, a rice, and plus 2 slices of chicken. I'm going to get that.
And fruits.
And fruits also.
Yeah.
Before me and Leo going to jump in the pool.
Okay. And then, yeah, because I have a autistic adult child he's 24 now, and you know, he lives with us here too, and it's what he loves is the pool. That's the main reason I built the pool, is for my autistic child. So yeah, it's not, there's a little bit of a blue sky there, but it's mostly overcast this morning, but it's around 7 a.m. And yeah, it took about 5 years to build this place. And you know, just to update everyone, for new subscribers, you know, bought this land raw, cut the coconut trees off it, cleared it, had a contractor build the house first. Then after I retired, so I was back and forth from the U.S. still working when they were working on the house, which was always a mistake if you're not there. They had many problems. The biggest one was the attic in the upper roof. I had to completely go in the attic and completely put vapor barriers and insulation and completely redo the whole entire upper roof area, because the air con was just going straight out into the jungle. It was a bad situation. So you got to keep your eye on everything. My dad is a superintendent carpenter his whole life, and you know, I knew better, and I worked with my dad for years in the construction industry, and I worked in the oil field industry pretty much my whole adult life, and in Alaska. And then I lived in the Las Vegas area, and I grew up in Minnesota. So, yeah, and if you're gonna plan on building a house in the Philippines, make sure that you're there every single day. You pretty much have to be there to always keep your eye on what's going on and any changes you want to make, or if anything don't look right to you. And like I say, they completely build different here in the Philippines than the U.S. So you have to, you know, both learn from them how they do it, and then modify it to what you think is right according to construction standards. Because, you know, even little stuff like outlets, they only put 1 outlet in an entire room. You know, I like to have like 3 outlets at least. So just small stuff like that. I mean, you have to constantly be watching their project. So what I did is I bought this land, and I bought we have about 20 hectares now altogether, or no, not 20 hectares, 10 hectares, which is about 20 acres of land, coconut producing. We harvest coconut 3 times a year, And I bought all that land and built all this stuff and bought these vehicles brand new and paid everything off in full with my first pension from my oil field job that I had most of my life. And then altogether, my estimate is for all that stuff, you know, appliances, costs for, you know, government permits and all the solar system, everything, right around 500,000. Now you say, oh my God, that's such a huge price for the Philippines. Well, if you guys believe some of these videos that are online, oh, I built my house in the Philippines, blah, 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 for 30,000 US or 70,000 US, you know, that's mostly baloney, because they aren't including all the costs that it takes to move everything to the Philippines, you know, and acquire land with your Filipino wife. And that's the thing with foreigners, they can own land as long as they're married foreigners. You have to be married, and you can have a joint ownership of land as a foreigner. Why? Because, I mean, I've been through this 1 billion times with people. If you're single, the law says you cannot, as a foreigner, own land in the Philippines. But as a married foreigner to a Filipina, you jointly own the land, period, period, period. You legally have rights to the land, and if you ever split up for any reason, most the foreigners just give up and then just leave, right? They abandon their wife and families if they can't take the way a Filipina is for any reason. And then the Filipina gets everything. But legally, and you know, my name is on all the deeds of sale and all the land titles and everything, you know, and I've gone over that so many times, and it's 40-60. The Filipina has the rights to 60%, the foreigner has rights to 40%, and that's the law. That is the law in the Philippines. So all these foreigners and YouTubers are saying, oh, you can't own land, or I'm just a visitor here. That's all baloney. The Philippines Constitution, you know, protects the family. So once you're married and absolutely get married in the Philippines, and don't ever, because a divorce is illegal, so you'll be married for the rest of your life as long as you don't abandon your Filipino. And a lot of foreigners abandon their Filipinas because they don't know how to handle them. So just stand your ground, love them for who they are. They are completely different. They are traditional wives, most of them. A lot of that's changing though because of social media and internet. They're getting too worldly, but most of them have a background in Christianity, and you're gonna, because divorce is illegal, you're not gonna have a problem the rest of your life. You can never have a gun held to your head saying, "Oh, I'm gonna divorce you for whatever reason," because it's illegal here, and it's always going to be illegal because it's in the Constitution. The Constitution here protects the marriage, period. End of story. So I'm picking up these guava. They fell off this tree here. See, there's a bunch of them here. See, the fruit grows wild all over here in the Philippines. It's like my whole yard here, my land is just loaded with fruits and stuff. And this here tree here is an avocado tree. It hasn't produced yet, but I think it's going to produce within the next year. It's like about 2 years old. But yeah, I built all this. I built this 100-foot tower, and I have my office there. There's a bar on the top. There's an observation deck on the top, very top, and there's 2 apartments in the lower end, and then there's an open space I call open concept, and then there's a basement with all the pool equipment in the basement underneath the tower. And then, like I say, that's a chef kitchen over here, laundry facility. There's a shower room, changing room for the pool here. There's a function hall in the back. All this stuff took 5 years of construction, and including all the appliances, all the labor, all the materials, and my 2 vehicles and my solar system paid in full. All this stuff cost right around 500,000, guys. So all these people saying that, Oh, you're way overpaid. Yeah, I probably overpaid maybe 20%. So maybe, you know, I could have done it for 450,000 or something like that. But that's part of building, and that's where I'm building too. It's way out in the jungle, so there's transportation costs, logistical problems that it takes longer. That's why it took 5 years for all this, guys. So yeah, anyways, that's just getting you, you know, plan on it taking a long time. And yes, I overbuilt. If I was to do it again, I would have downsized everything that I did here, maybe, you know, 30%, you know, maybe 50%, you know, have it only cost 250,000 instead of 500,000. I probably should have done that, but you know, that's just, you know, things, once you get into construction, things start to expand, and your plans change. I mean, we had blueprints and everything, but for most of it, but you know, then you start to have problems. And one thing about the Philippines too, if you're going to build, or even if you're going to buy, the weather is so harsh here because it's jungle, tropical, humidity, and you know, the rust, everything rusts, everything gets destroyed by rain. I mean, even this is the dry season now, and this is the wettest dry season I've ever seen in 10 years. I've been here 10 years now. So yeah, it's really hard on everything. Terrible, terrible hard. And so you have to deal with that too. I'm from Las Vegas area, where I lived most of my last 20 years before I came here, and it's beautiful every single day. It's pure sun, very, very, very little moisture. It's a desert, right? And you never have to worry about mud or rain ruining your day, which I kind of miss that. But like I say, I spent all my first pension here like 3 years ago, so I've been just living off of $2,000 a month for a family of between 7 and 13, depending on who's coming and going from my wife's family and everything. And you know, that's just part of it. If you marry a Filipina, you're marrying the family. So, and yeah, you can put strict rules on that and stuff, but that's just the way it is in the Philippines. You know, and I care for my father-in-law, lives with us. You know, and we had to bring him to the clinic here last week because he had an injury on his leg from a, you know, motorcycle accident. He's 79. He was getting a ride on a motorcycle, and the guy driving it, you know, it was on a trail, you know, in the jungle. So yeah, it's one thing after another. But that's family, you know. That's what happens. Life happens, guys. So it's, you know, that's the way I choose to so-called waste my money, is having a big family, and we do it our way, right? Which is a homestead, way out in the jungle, away from the city, away from the crime, away from the congestion of the city and the dirtiness of the city. Yeah, the jungle's dirty too, but it's a natural dirty, you know. It's from foliage and rain and stuff. So you got to make all those decisions. And a lot of guys, when they retire, they don't want to, you know. I chose to have a family and, you know, have a child, and when I came to the Philippines. And that's going to benefit me now when I start drawing my Social Security in a few months from now, because, you know, I get benefits for my wife and my child through Social Security, which is going to probably more than, well, right around triple what my regular security amount would be, right? So you got to think about all those things, guys. You got to plan ahead. You got to plan ahead years in advance and know the rules of everything. You know, I didn't know the rules, a lot of this stuff, throughout my entire life. Why? Because, you know, you only start worrying about it or thinking about it when you get close to retirement age. But yeah, it's awesome. Once I start drawing my Social Security pension here in a few months, then hopefully everything we should be able to travel and do a lot of things, because everything I got is completely paid off, and I just have the $2,000 a month right now, and I'll have over $8,000 a month when my Social Security starts. So that's crazy money, right, guys? So, you know, and there's no insurance here. That's required. No insurance. So you don't have to worry about any kind of insurance. So you have cash and cash savings. Just make sure, you know, and I've gotten into a situation where I got low on my cash savings. So yeah, that can be a problem. You got to be really, really disciplined. And luckily, and that's the thing. Our thing here, you deal majority of cash. Yeah, there's some credit, but the majority of everything is cash. And if you need cash, you have savings, and your savings mostly is gold here, because there's pawn shops and there's gold dealers here everywhere, because that's how all Southeast Asia, China, Middle East, everything, all this half of the world, it all is based on gold, guys. So if you're going to have a savings, you better have a big chunk of it. And that's another thing. I hear these foreigners, these bloggers, you know, popular ones that really don't know what they're talking about, even right now, about, oh, you got to take care of your Filipina and prepare for if you die, so you can have your bank accounts all set up and passwords and all that. Well, I'm sorry, but my Filipina, she extremely stresses out when and most Filipinas are like that, not all, but most, that dealing with the transition of when I die, she's going to have to do all this online banking and all this other stuff. Yes, it's a slow process. You can teach them, but they're super stressed out. So what eliminates all that bank account numbers and code numbers and phones, and make sure you have a American phone to be able to access your funds and blah, 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 all this stuff, you can eliminate all of that by just buying gold, having gold as a savings, where your Filipina knows where the gold is and where to sell it and where to pawn it. Either one, right? So she can take care of any kind of emergency, medical or otherwise, as long as you have a bunch of gold, guys. And nowadays the price of gold so high, it don't take much, you know, like probably 3 to 10 ounces for emergencies. That's huge money, guys. I mean, even a couple ounces of gold, you know, that's 7,000 US, you know, and that's like close to 500,000 pesos. So, you know, I had an amputation done on my left foot here in the Philippines, and it's been probably 8 weeks now, and I'm walking around, no problem whatsoever. It was an excellent work, excellent job, all for like $3,000 US. You know, so this is the kind of thing I'm talking about. I didn't have any insurance or any of that. These insurance companies are rip-off scam criminals. Stay away from them at all costs. That's why I love the Philippines. None of that insurance junk is required at all. You just have cash savings, guys, or gold savings, one of the two, or both. Same thing with auto insurance. I don't pay those scamming criminals anymore. I just have cash, guys. That's all you need. And Westerners, oh, I gotta have insurance. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna die if I don't have insurance. Oh, I'm so worried. What's gonna happen? Trust in the Lord and have cash savings or gold savings. That's all it takes, guys. Same thing with if you die. Make sure your Filipina knows where all your gold is, right? She can sell it or do whatever she wants with it after you're dead. So that's my advice. So anyways, it looks like the sun's starting to come out here, and the pool is in excellent shape. We refurbished it, completely remodeled the entire pool here this year after about 3 years when it was brand new. You know, and now I got a better system for caring for it. We vacuum it it only needs vacuuming once a week. Keep the pool pump on 24/7 on very low speed, Yes, the electricity costs will be higher, but it's, you know, I don't have to worry about it turning green and all that stuff. So, you know, all this stuff, you got to keep busy in life. So, anyways, I'm going to let you guys. Oh, I wanted to tell you guys about. Sorry, this video is starting to take too long, but we went to schools looking for schools for Leonardo. He's going to start school next week. So supposedly there was 3 schools. There's a Catholic school, there's a Adventist school, and there was this other school that was supposed to be brand new and modern and everything. Well, the 3rd school turned out to be not existing. You know, there was all kinds of rumors, but we couldn't find it. And we looked and looked and looked, and someone said it was open for 2 years and then it shut down because they didn't have enough students going to it or whatever, right? So we only had the 2 choices, and they both have obviously a religious curriculum. And even in the U.S., the Catholics have the highest academic honors as far as high accredited schools. So, but the Seventh-day Adventists have high accredited schools also, if you can find them. And in the Philippines, there happened to be one just right by our house here. So here's the deal. The Catholic school has a kindergarten, K1 and K2, for 2 years. Then they don't have any grades for kids to enroll into until 7th grade, which is the start of high school here. So, but the Adventist school has K2 through grade 6. So what's going to happen is Leo's going to go to the Catholic school for K2, and then just for 1 year, and then he's going to go to the Adventist school, and hopefully they're remodeling and everything going to be done next year, because it was a construction mess when I was there, if you guys see the video last week. So then he'll go to elementary grades 1 through 6, and then when he starts high school, we're going to put him at a high prestigious Catholic high school in a different city that we have some close friends there with their house is right across the street from the high school, and it's the same high school that my wife, you know, the mother of my son here, went to. It's called LaSalle in Iligan City. So that's about 3 or 4 hours from here drive, but you know, it's a trusted friend that is single, and he has his own house, and you know, he's right across the street from the high school. It's a perfect situation, and it's a high accredited school. So that's where Leo most likely is going to go for his grades 7 through 12 or 7 through 10 or whatever it is here. It's kind of messed up a little bit compared to what the U.S. is. So then after that, we're thinking, I mean, he likes to be, even now he likes to be like a doctor. So we're thinking he's going to be a doctor. So we're going to see. Hopefully we can put him in a medical school. There's real good medical schools in Manila or Malaysia, or, you know, which are like a tenth of the price, and they teach the same exact curriculum as they do in the U.S. in these expensive Western countries. So for a tenth of the price, he can become a doctor, and then a lot of Filipinas become nurses here, right? And then they switch their accreditation into Western countries and make 10 times the money. And it's the switch over to become a nurse in the U.S. is very easy. They just have to do some tests and some work like a 1 year under residency or something, and then their salary jumps way up compared to what the pay is in the Philippines and Southeast Asia. So that's the plan right now for Leo, and then we just need to save up for his college. And like I say, you know, for maybe 1 million pesos, which is like 20,000 US, maybe maybe 40,000 US total. He can get his 6-year doctorate degree, 6 or 8 years, you know, for 40, 50,000 US. You know what I'm saying, guys? I mean, it's like what, you know, tenth or way less than half the price. So that's probably what's going to happen. As long as everything progresses where he still likes to get into the medical field and everything, I'm hoping so, but we'll see. You know the way that goes. Parents try to plan their children's futures, and it never happens quite that way. So we'll see. You know, that's all you can do is try to plan best you can for the future, right? No matter what he ends up going into. But that's one thing. You know, you're helping humanity. Going into the nursing field or the doctor, being a doctor, you're helping, you really actually hands-on helping humanity. And you're doing it, you know, in a country where it's not a rip-off and a scam. You know, like in the U.S., it's controlled by these HMOs, and that's what's running Medicare and Medicaid through Social Security, and it's billions and billions of dollars. And these rip-off criminal HMO health insurance companies that are controlling Medicare, and they're just scraping all the people's money away in a criminal fraud. It's disgusting what's going on in the U.S. with the criminal fraud and the super high prices compared to the rest of the world. It's just terrible. And I hope that changes here in the future, but we'll see. But anyways, that's my little rant, and that's my explanation of Leo's schools. I told you I was going to let you know what school. So you'll be going to a Catholic school and then Adventist school. And it's only 2 kilometers from our house here, so it's real easy. And our plan is we're going to be traveling a lot here within the next 4 years so I can, you know, when my health is still good here and I can still travel well and, you know, cruising. And I'm going to be going to the U.S. probably every single year now because I'll have the money to be able to go back and forth. And once Leo's in school, he'll be focusing on his school, stuff like that. So that's the plan. And for now, take care, guys, and appreciate you liking and subscribing. Thank you so much, and God bless, and talk to you later. Bye-bye.